This diorama is all about the horse, which stood by humans from the very beginning and throughout all the battles of World War II. Many folks, swayed by propaganda films, thought that the Blitzkrieg strategy relied mainly on tanks, but the truth is that the logistics for quick advances depended a lot on horses, especially since there weren't many cars at the start. This war marked the beginning of a tech revolution, and after it, the horse's role as a mode of transport started to fade a bit. World War II was a time of incredible technological growth, and during that period, horses played a vital role, stepping in where technology couldn't quite reach. It was a tough time for horses, as they had to keep pace with the Blitzkrieg strategy, moving equipment even in places where machines couldn't go. When Germany started to fall behind the Allied nations in production, it was still the horse that helped keep the war effort alive, but ultimately, it wasn't a sustainable solution. This war was the last time horses had such a significant role. From then on, mass-produced machines began to take over, being quicker to adapt and easier to replace with newer machines. It all began nearly 10 years ago when I took my first steps into the world of dioramas, putting together and painting my very first horse-drawn vehicle, the Revell Leichter Feldhorbitzer 18. Back then, they used leftover floor tiles as a base and dried dill and parsley to create the plants. It even looked great back then. Revell's figures were really well crafted, and the base turned out quite nice with some builder's putty and tinting powders. But as time went on, the greens started to yellow quite a bit. Now that I've grown as a modeler, I noticed the exciting possibilities for customizing this diorama. The first thing I did was bring in a German Wehrmacht horse-drawn ammunition wagon and some German cavalry soldiers to my workbench, made by Hat Company. The first step was to clean the figures of any leftover plastic mold bits, Hat is famous at that, and paint them a nice chocolate brown for priming. This will help when we shade the next colors from dark to light later on. If you're curious about why one of the horse sets is pink, it's because my first daughter painted it, and it was waiting to be included in a diorama. So, one of the horses is actually a secret unicorn, and the carriage is really a princess carriage. Then I put on the first base colors, using darker shades of brown. Since wood turns grey as it ages, and the main color of Wehrmacht wagons is grey, the wagon was painted that color before it was put together. I wasn't too thrilled that there were no springs under the wagon, so I decided to make my own. The carriage brake system was added, and the implement was included as well, and new wheel axles because the old ones don't fit anymore. Now let's talk about the little things, like harness straps, saddles, and bags. Varnish, and dry brush, and it's beginning to look like a genuine horse harness. I wanted to bring more life to the warpath, so I searched for Wehrmacht soldiers from various manufacturers, aiming for poses that were both calm and dynamic, just like soldiers might appear while marching. Finding such poses among scale figures is not so easy, because usually infantry figures are made in very squat and attacking poses, as if the soldier had done nothing but attack all the time. In reality, however, the life of a soldier consists of a kind of constant waiting. Battles take up very little of a soldier's schedule. The latter, however, is a very popular understanding of the nature of a soldier. Few model kits have been produced that depict soldiers at rest or simply on the move. The little details of many figures didn't look too great, they might have been stuck on. For instance, the weapons came from the accessories of some figures. Here, you can check out equipment from various manufacturers in a bunch of different plastic colors. Also, start with chocolate brown as the base color first. This cyclist is really an English spy. He's actually an RAF Airfix cyclist, and I just put a German helmet on him, so he's not a real Englishman at all. The primary color of the uniform is grey, the grey of the Wehrmacht field uniform. Here, the faces are gently shaded with 3 lovely shades of pink, ranging from the darkest to the lightest. Little details, straps, clasps, tools. The more carefully you paint them, the nicer the final result will be. And finally, washing, which always makes the model a reflection of reality, reveals hidden details and perspectives. Here I tried out a fun experiment using a stone stencil roller to find out what it's like to create a cobblestone path with air drying clay. And I put 'em all march for a bit on this big rocky gathering spot. Oh, those poor little feet. Horses that fit in the palm of your hand. Then I began working on fixing up the old diorama base. I had a flocker for static grass installation by then, and so I started experimenting with it. At the same time, I refreshed the grass on some of the other dioramas. I also created a few test CD dioramas. I added tufts of grass, specially designed for dioramas, in different colors, for different seasons. I sprayed small dots of white and yellow between them, imitating the smaller flowers in the grass. Wind-broken trees and fallen logs that have been standing for a long time here and there, a bush that is a leftover from my previous large tree diorama. I used a K-Still water effect liquid for the puddles and mud, which I used multiple times so that the water level in the puddles was more or less even everywhere. Different grades of soil and sand and dust on PVA glue to imitate soil material with varying degrees of wear and moisture. I have added a very exciting and comfortable material to my material collection that imitates tall grasses. I can tear off exactly as many large tufts as I need from one large piece. They also come in different colors for different seasons. And as in nature there are all sorts of twigs, pieces and other small things scattered here and there, it always adds to the realism. My main task is to attach this stuff to the base with PVA glue so that it doesn't fly away in the wind. And as in nature there are all sorts of twigs, pieces and other small things scattered here and there, it always adds to the reality. My main task is to attach this stuff to the base with PVA glue so that it doesn't fly away in a random wind. For the sake of naturalness, I also placed the ground in such a way that it would give the impression of the weight of the carts and things, so that they would not float on the ground but would have sunk into it due to their own weight. And that's here the beauty shots come. It was an interesting project, making new from old, preserving old parts, adding new ones. We were able to test new diorama construction materials and bring this work to a level that would hopefully be fit to be displayed and viewed for the next 10 years. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to let us know how the drill goes. Be healthy and happy, and see you next time.